Welcome to the Lori and Cher Show, Hacking into Awesome. I'm Lori Williamson.
And I'm Cher Jones.
And if you don't know, Cher and I are cousins, and we host this weekly Google Plus Hangout where we talk to absolutely awesome people and totally hack into what makes them awesome.
Exactly. And tonight is no other than awesome because we have an awesome guest that I am super excited to introduce. But before we do that, if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe because you know we love the love over on YouTube. And of course, give us a thumbs up and leave us some comments. Let us know what's up. And as well, you know we're on Facebook. You can hit us up at facebook.com/LoriandCher and tell us how we're doing. And of course, we are sharing awesome all the time. Our show wouldn't be called Hacking into Awesome if we weren't doing just that. So you can too. And tonight's guest, we are getting ready to hack into awesome. Eh, Lori?
Absolutely. It's episode 17, Miss Cher Jones. And tonight I think we're in for some jokes. We've got comedian, singer, DJ, host, artist. I mean, I'm tongue-tied right now with all the things that I can give with this lady. She's known for her work at MTV, VH1, on the dance floor, on the stage, on YouTube. She's fearless. She's opinionated. She's got a whole lot of diva-liciousness coming on the Lori and Cher Show. Welcome to the show, Miss Amanda Scales.
How you guys doing? Thank you for having me in your den of awesomeness.
That's how we roll around here. It's all about awesome, and the fact that you can hack into yours. Oh my gosh, is there anything that you're bad at? I'm literally going through your stuff, literally everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is there anything this girl is bad at? So
I'm bad at choosing men. I'm not really proficient in that. So,
at least there's something.
I've been working on stepping my game up in that department. But when it comes to the art, and I'm bad at pottery. Okay. I am like the whole scene in Ghost, you know, with the throwing the pot on the wheel. Yeah, mine would have looked discombobulated and not sexy at all. So there's that.
Wow, just two little things.
No, I mean, you know what it is? I really don't put stuff out there that I don't consider myself good at. And so I've just gotten very lucky to be exposed to things that I can really try my hand at and have good people around me to like show me the right way, like early on, and that's saved a lot of energy in terms of like making mistakes. And so I end up getting good at stuff quickly because I have the people around me.
All right, well, you know what? We usually like to start off the show. We do hot topics, and that's what we want to start the show off today. Last night was the big Met Gala, so we decided to have you weigh in. You're a fan of fashion, are you not?
Yes, definitely
Absolutely.
a fan.
So let's get into what some of the fashions that you know, some of the celebs were wearing. Cher, do you want to kick it off?
Absolutely. I mean, Lori and I literally spent probably about an hour on people.com looking at all the arrival pictures, like wooing and going, what the, you know, when we saw certain fashions. So we pulled out a few of those, especially because like we love to cover what black women are wearing because you see it sometimes. You'll see like the majors, like the Beyoncés and all that stuff. But we took a look at everybody else and we'll weigh in. So our first one are the Golden Girls. So at least we got some women of color going on. And Lori, go right in with this one.
Yes, we have Jessica Alba. She's wearing DVF. And then we have Rita Ora in Donna Karan.
Is Rita Ora gonna sing anytime soon? Because I just keep seeing her hang out.
Yeah, about that. I mean, a nice dress. Not everything.
I'm like, how did you get to the Met Ball? That's what I started thinking. Like, how did you get to the Met Ball? What do you do these days?
She's like, good connections.
Good connections.
Sometimes it is all about those connections. And, I mean, right now you're looking at this pale sort of gold, these Golden Girls. I think it looks pretty good. But again, Rita Ora, what are you doing? And why aren't you at the Met Ball, Amanda? You've got, like, more talent in this, like, little tiny baby finger. but
I
that's just me
tweeted
saying.
last night, I will consider myself to have made it when I get invited to the Met Ball.
There you go.
That's like my benchmark.
There you go. So our next our next fashion trio, Lori and I were just like, really? It's like, what is that, velvet? I didn't know what this material on any of them are. So we've got Joy Bryant, we've got Janelle Monáe, and we've got Nicole Richie. And I was just confused. Thoughts?
I think Joy Bryant was like celebrating Cinco de Mayo. So I think that's...
I was thinking she was at, I'm going to say the word an ethnic person's house, and she was borrowing the drapes.
That's it, yeah.
Because that was the balance.
I don't understand any of that over there. You know, Janelle, she's got to stick with the plan, which is black and white at all times. So I feel like that kind of limits, you know, the versatility. But this Toreador cape is an interesting choice. But, you know, I kind of feel like Janelle is like Prince. Even when it looks crazy, it's like, but it's Janelle. So she wants us to go, like, I think that may have actually been her intention. Nicole, I don't know what this is. She looks like a corpse.
Yes,
A what?
A corpse.
A corpse, yeah.
Like a shrouded corpse. Like, it looks like a shroud. I don't really know what the
inspiration?
Yeah, like what was the stylist's like vision in this? It looks like it's a costume ball, right? And maybe she was playing someone from like the future.
Yeah, it has this little bit of a Coraline sort of look to it too. I was just confused. So yeah, and Joy Bryant. What is going on with Joy Bryant?
And she's so gorgeous. It's not like she has to do much.
Exactly.
But she was wearing makeup, because I know Sharon and I were talking, and we were like, wow, Joy Bryant's actually wearing makeup, because normally she's like sans makeup all the time. So, I mean, I'm not loving the braids per se, but maybe she's in the middle of a role.
Well, apparently she has the braids, but who knows if it's even going to get renewed. I hope they do, because I love that show.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nicole Richie, I mean, the whole purple hair, I know a lot of that's like very in right now. It's kind of like that Kelly Osbourne going for the gray, you know, purple, light purple. Yeah, I think I'm not loving that. Like, to me, this is all bedwear. This is all bedding. I mean, yeah, this is like a brocade. This is things that you're putting on the bed.
Yeah, like
Nicole is like a worn throw.
And Janelle is wearing like something you're wearing in the winter on the couch, like it's cold.
Like a fashionable Snuggie.
Yes.
There you go. Well, we're moving on now because birds of a feather flock together, and check out this trio right here. And we have Lupita Luongo in Prada. We have Gabrielle Union Prada, and Naomi Campbell. I don't know what Naomi Campbell's wearing, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not sure.
I like what Naomi's wearing. I love the white. I love the peekaboo underneath. Yeah, I do. I don't mind it. You know what? I get it. It's like a little bit cool outside, so she's wearing the little feather thing. But I think she looks beautiful. Like, I mean, for this woman to be in her 40s, and I mean, she's looking. I like it. I like the dress.
People didn't like. No, I like. Yeah, Naomi rarely does wrong for me. So I think you know, the white is an interesting choice. And I mean, yeah, I liked it. Like when I saw it, it didn't make me, you know, like with the other looks where I was like, huh? This one I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's a bit boudoir-ish, but I think it can also be interpreted as like 30s as well, you know, like 20s, 30s.
But let's get into Lupita. I mean, she has been a fashion hit after one red carpet after the other, and then she comes out with this.
I love this. I may be the only one, but I like it. Yes. I think she looks unique. I think she's the only one who can get away with it. It's a costume ball. You know, she's already worn what a lot of these other ladies are wearing. She's like worn that type of thing at these other events. So this to me was like, I feel like she took a gamble and won, even though a lot of people didn't like it. I love it.
I don't know. It looks like Peter Pan crossed between Pocahontas.
I'm with it. I like her headband. She's looking real from the motherland.
I'm not a fan of this, and I mean, I'm just not a fan of Gabrielle Union. So
in general,
yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's just the whole mean girl. I don't know. It's hard for me to watch Being Mary Jane and watching her in some of those movies like Think Like a Man or yeah.
The brother. Wait, no, not the brothers. Two can play. Dang,
Two can play that game. Yeah, that's it.
No, isn't that Vivica?
Oh, is the rules? Yeah, no, she was in it too. It was Vivica and
what's the one with her and Morris Chestnut? That's the brothers.
No, it's the rules. It's something to do with the rules. Oh, Two can play that game. That's exactly what it is. It's Two can play that game. Now I have to Google it. Yeah.
With the whole like, if he really loves you, he'll give you his last piece of food. And then and then he gives her his last piece of food, and she realizes, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you guys feeling this outfit? I mean, I think it's definitely the year of the stomach. I think her stomach looks fine. I'm just not a fan of it all, like the feathers and all this. I'm just, what's that dancer? Is it Josephine Baker?
I'm not mad at it. I actually like the fact, like, and to me, that's what Lupita's bringing, some Josephine Baker to the scene. So
yeah,
it seems like it does seem like there's a 20s theme amongst all three of these women. I don't know if that was a part, because, you know, often the gala has a theme. Remember they had the rock punk theme one year, you know, with Alexander McQueen. So I don't know if that was a theme, if this was the theme this year. But I think that, you know, I'm just happy to see that they let black folks in. So
right. And we're covering them tonight because they don't get the coverage they deserve.
They don't. Everyone just wants to see Kim and the others.
Absolutely. I mean, I like Gabrielle Union, so I'm not loving the dress, but I'm not hating it. And it is, like you said, a costume ball, so we got to give it some love there. Our next one, peekaboo, because a lot of people have been talking about Rihanna and this dress and her, like, it's very nippy outside, and alongside Zoe Kravitz, where if you look really close, did you take a look at, I don't know if you could see it, but there's
I don't know what's going on in Zoe's area.
Yeah,
we are seeing crotch. That's what we're seeing in that angle. I'm sorry. Her stylist needed to put some tape down to make sure that angle was not going to be seen.
I don't even know what is with this whole look. What's with the black shoe? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I can't get over that crotch. I can't get over that sliver that we're seeing.
Yeah, there's definitely a vag or two behind it. So
and some hair.
Rihanna always looks nice. I feel like this was actually surprisingly plain for what this event is all about, you know. But you know, she's a pretty girl, so it takes a lot for her to look cray-cray.
Yeah,
I'm loving. I think this is like women. You need to get your butt into the gym because this is what the summer is going to be about. Every woman who has it, and I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some that don't, they're going to be going around wearing this top.
This specific top?
This top, like this, in like just underneath.
I'm midriff all day.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a midriff top right now.
Like,
it's cold, but as you can see how short this top is.
Look at that.
So,
and I mean, it's funny because Lori and I always joke how it's like business on the top, party on the bottom, because like it could be like pajama pants, it could be whatever. So it's really interesting how we play around with that. But yeah, definitely, Lori, I can take your advice as far as finding the way to the gym because we need to be rocking the crop top, rocking the crop. But take a look at these friends over here, and we've got the Powerpuff Girls. Can you guys hear me? Or
yes. Yeah, we're just shocked.
Yeah, it's shocked, right? Shock and awe.
I don't mind Zoe.
Yeah, I don't mind Zoe.
Wearing Michael Kors. Miss Solange Knowles, she's wearing 3.1 Philip Lim. What is that lady that I'm feeling that haircut is channeling? Is it? Oh my gosh, she's that Broadway star. I can't think of her name right now. She was friends with Michael Jackson. she's really crazy older white lady.
Elaine Stritch?
No, she's somewhat more popular than that. Oh my gosh, it's like. Anyways, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, no, it's just a puppy.
It looked like a meringue. It just kind of looks bizarre to me. But Zoe's killing it.
Yeah, no, she's definitely killing it. I mean, neither of them could work with me, but Zoe. If you're to rate the Powerpuff Girls, I'd definitely say Zoe all the way. And yeah, we've got one more, and two. We got some power couples activate. Form of Kim Ye and Jay-Z and Beyonce. They both look good. I mean, there's nothing to complain about either or. And but then you guys have anything to say about these guys? I mean, as far as how they looked.
I think Beyonce. I like it. I like the see-through, and I'm not. I think since it is a costume ball, I think the hair back and then kind of wearing that veil. I think it just matches. So I think it looks sexy and nice, and I'm feeling it.
It's cool.
Yeah. I know. I wasn't like meh. It's fine. Like it didn't say wow to me. It didn't say ugly. It just said okay.
And Kim Kardashian, I feel like there's too much material with this dress.
Yeah, it makes her look more. I know we're not
supposed to use
the word fat.
Fluffy.
So it just makes her look bigger. It's not a flattering dress to her curves.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just think it has like a lot of extra fabric. They could have taken it back. She's wearing that
waist. It's just like this is what she should have worn instead of wearing the couch.
Right. Or the drapes. A lot of drapery tonight. Let
it all hang out.
Yep. And finally, the other couples. So, and we got Carmelo and Lala. We've got Chanel Iman
and A$AP Rocky, and then we have Chrissy Teigen and
John Legend.
It seems like
I'm impressed that A$AP and Chanel are still together. So
that's what Lord said.
I'm like, wow, that is impressive. Either he's randomly really nice behind the scenes, or she just is really tolerant. It's one of the two.
I like her dress. A$AP Rocky, I'm not feeling those braids. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of those. It feels like he's doing a braid out.
Yeah, little twist out, braid out thing, and I'm not feeling his suit, like this little Dracula looking kind of look for me. So I'm just not feeling it. And
they like pants tight. They like them tight.
Yeah, man, tight. They like them tight.
They like them tight. I don't know how they're breathing.
Yeah, everyone's wearing tails, and I don't know. I don't like Carmelo Anthony in that outfit. Not really feeling it. Lala, I just think she looks so serious, and I wish she would just be a little bit more youthful in this. So yeah, and Chrissy Teigen and that collar, it just reminds me of a clown. So nothing special.
Nothing special at all.
So I guess out of these couples, we're gonna give it to Chanel and A$AP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Who is your favorite overall? Amanda.
I love Lupita. And listen, I am not one of these Lupita can do no wrong people. They are out here, There's like a whole other. They stem from the Beyonce stands. It's a whole crew. But I really liked her outfit, and I feel like she took a gamble. She went the distance. No one really made me gasp. We didn't see her in this, but I actually liked Sarah Jessica Parker's dress.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, of the pictures that I saw from the gala, like no one really made me be like, oh my God, And in the past, there have definitely been those moments.
Absolutely. All right, so that was cool because this is the first time we did fashion, I think, on the show.
Yeah, that's more Lori's thing than my thing. I appreciate it when I see it, but it's like, oh, that's a pretty dress. Oh, that's short. Oh, that's long. That's like the extent of my ability to talk
Right.
about fashion. But hey, I'll roll with the punches.
Yeah.
So, I can appreciate. I can tell you what I don't like and what I will wear. So it's all good.
Exactly.
So, Amanda, let's get into this. I mean, we were talking to you when I was introducing you. I was like, there's just a whole list. I was like, man, I want to get through everything because this lady just does everything. When you think of like what Amanda does, like my job is like, what do you kind of describe it as?
I'm a creative in the truest sense of the word. So my job is to create work that is artistically of quality and that is artistically of comedy at this point. So aside from my visual art, all of the work that I create comes from a comedy base, and it comes from a quality comedy and also an intellectual base. I want any work that I do to make people think as well as laugh. So whether it is hosting or DJing or stand-up or my web series or a stage show, I want it always to intrigue, inspire, and, incite laughter.
Well, I mean, clearly what you're doing works. Because I remember when I used to live in New York and I used to work at VH1, I remember seeing you when you used to be hosting on MTV2. And I remember when Cher was like, you got to go check out this lady. She has this really funny show. And she's like, I just want her on the show. Cher was like, I just really want her on the show. I think she's
I was
really
stalking you,
funny.
okay?
Cher. Well, it's nice to hear that, though, because a lot of times you create stuff and you think you're in a vacuum, and it's like you just kind of do it just to do it. Like, for instance, like, I am incredibly gifted at creating. Like, I'm prolific. Like, you can tell me today, like, Amanda, we need a one-woman show about this topic, and I can do it. But my gift isn't necessarily, like, marketing or monetizing. Like, those aren't necessarily my specialties, which is, very essential to making a career as a creative. So it's nice to know that even without those skill sets, to my opinion, I don't feel like I have those skill sets, that, it's still getting to people that aren't necessarily like following my blog or following me on Twitter. So thanks, guys.
But when you think about it,
Yeah.
when you think about it, poor Lori, things are limited. You make it look so easy, right? You literally make it look easy, but we know that there's a lot of work involved in that. And how many hours would you say you spend a week on the show? Just prepping.
Well, over the course of the week, we actually, just as you said that, an email came in. We, as a team, share stories that we see throughout the week, and we comment on them amongst each other in an email chain. And then we'll throw out ideas of possible sketches to do around the stories, and then we meet at 6:30 on Friday, and we basically just choose which stories we're going to do and how we're going to do them. Because the bottom line is, they make the news, we make it funny. That's the point of things I learned this week. So we want to always find stories that are intriguing, but find ways to not only make them funny, but to make people look at them in a different way. And the jackpot is when we can actually teach through any of the sketches or commentary. We can slide in something that folks may not have known. One of the best compliments that I get about the show is when someone says, I didn't know that. Things I learned this week.
Yeah.
You don't even understand. We've been saying that all week. We've been back and forth to each other, and so.
No, I mean, I am somebody who, like, my goal in life is to become an icon of opinion leadership. I want to be somebody that people look to speak on what's going on in our contemporary times, whether it's to music, politics, social issues, the arts, comedy, etc. I want to be a Dick Gregory. I want to be a Bill Cosby. I want to be one of the Maya Angelou of our time. And so, that's what this show helps for me to do, to consistently get to speak on what's going on in my own voice, because when you see me on MTV, VH1, etc., like I still haven't gotten the opportunity to speak in my own voice on those channels yet, and you know, nothing before it's time.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
When you get stuff like that comes out that you're like, let's say for instance what happened last week with Donald Sterling and V. Stiviano, are you like, yes, like I get to go off this week when you're like in your creative, when you know
well, the thing about that is that a lot of times it becomes like, okay, how are we going to talk about this differently than everybody else, right? Because it's such a main story. So even to finish answering your question, Cher, like once we shoot the show, like we talk about it for maybe like 2 hours, but a lot of times with a story like that, it takes so much longer for us to figure out what to do, because it's like we have to wade through what everyone else has done and how they've done it, and then like it definitely does, Lori, like make the creative juices start like, okay, what can we do, but then the second part of that is I edit the show as well, so a lot of times stuff happens in the edit too that may not necessarily have happened in the shoot, when it's like, oh, we can add this little twist to it, or we can throw this little thing on it, and the edit usually takes about 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I'll start an edit on Saturday, and then I will like finish it before Game of Thrones.
Yes, all right, that's my girl.
That's always the goal. It never really happens, but it's always the goal to finish before Game of Thrones.
I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, so I am loving just hearing that. Even our meeting, we have one meeting on Sunday night. It's from 8 to 9, and I'm like, 5 to 9, got to go, guys. I don't care what we're talking about. Got to go. PVR's running.
People know. Don't call me. At 9 on Sundays and at 10 on Thursdays. I'm busy.
Yeah. So basically, when I add up all those numbers, you're spending probably around 20, 25 hours a week on the show.
Yes, and it is a labor of love, and I'm really lucky that I've got a team that is vested and you know, that gets joy out of doing this. You know, when you create something, as you all know, it's a lot of times hard to find people who feel as strongly about it as you know, because it's your baby, and they ain't trying to hurt your baby, but they also ain't trying to keep your baby either, you know. So it takes definitely like leadership skills too, and I've had to definitely learn how to be a better leader, how to get out of my own way, how to get out of my creatives, you know, how to get out of their way in order to make this show work, because the goal is for this to, you know, get picked up by a network or by a digital platform of a substantial note. And if that's the case, I need to be the showrunner.
Absolutely. So very much your career, I mean, you are in a very competitive space. I mean, comedy, being a woman of color, being a woman in comedy. Can you break down what that scene is like the behind the scenes that we don't understand, the politics that are at play, how hard it is for someone like yourself, anyone who's trying to make it in the comedy world? Because I mean, I feel like we see, like, you know, back in the day we saw, like, you know, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and then now we're seeing Kevin Hart come up, and you know, it just seems like it's so easy and so flawless, but I don't believe it's like that.
Well, you know, for me it's even more different, because I've been doing comedy for quite some time, but in a very unorthodox path. You know, for a lot of folks, they come up as stand-up comics, and then they branched into television, and then they branch into doing sketch, et cetera, or they come up through improv. I'm somebody who actually came up through a very circuitous route. You know, I came up through music, and it just so happened I was funny. And so by having that personality, people in funny spaces would say, hey, come and do this, hey, come and do that. And so that's how I ended up at VH1 doing Best Week Ever back in 2007. And then once it got canceled, they kept me on doing commentary and doing commentary. And so next thing I knew, it was like, oh, I'm like getting paid to be funny. When did this happen, you know? And in the last 2 years, being a part of the last, you know, Best Week Ever cast, once it was rebooted, once again, you know, you're put back into the mix. And the difference, though, was that I had decided I didn't really want to be in the hip-hop and in the music world like I was before, and I definitely wanted to pursue the television world. And when I started doing my web series on AOL called The Spark, like it also had a comedy base, but I've realized last year that in order for me to really solidify myself and gain the credibility that I need to break through like a Kevin Hart, you know, to break through like these greats that came before, I would really need to be proficient at stand-up. And so my journey has actually been trying to really get into that mix in the stand-up world right now. You know, I do a monthly every Sunday at the Stand with Mark Lamont Hill called Smart, Funny, and Black, and that's been a great experience. And I did a one-woman show at the Stand over the summer called It's Complicated, Hilarical Answers to Serious Questions on Love. And like these things have definitely like brought me into the world, but I'm still working on trying to get in the mix because you're right, as a woman, first of all, it's extremely sexist, you know, like it's just like hip hop in that way. And you got to be able to fire back. You got to be able to have those jokes. Like you can't really call sexual harassment, you know? It's like you basically just got to like out funny them. And but it's a clique, you know, and there's definitely a crew, and it's about trying to get in there. And right now I feel like the new girl in 7th grade, where folks are like, she thinks she cute, you know, and you get some folks that are like, you can sit with us, you know, but
any Cadbury eggs?
You know, it's definitely like, you know, dear God, please make me a bird so I can fly away. You know, I just want to like get into the crux of things, and it doesn't help that most comics, myself included, are slightly awkward and not really the best at mingling, and also, you know, competitive. I mean, all these things make it difficult for you to be like, can we be friends?
Right.
But that's really, I mean, I say that all to say that I think any part of the entertainment business is just exceptionally difficult for women, especially for Black women, because we do not have a lot of things created for us. And so we have to be creating for ourselves constantly.
Right.
And
it's kind of like our show. You know, Cher and I we both have left, and we're both entrepreneurs doing things. We have a background in television, and we've kind of created this show to fuel our creativity. But it's TV on our own terms, and that's what we call this our show. Like we've used, like Cher's a social media trainer. She knows all about the technology and the social aspect of things, and now that's why Hacking Into Awesome, where we feature people, you know, all different types of people who, you know, we may not see on TV all the time in like an extended interview or something like that, talking in, as you say, your own original voice.
No, and I appreciate it. I mean, and this is the way it has to work. There has to be an exchange. You know, there has to be a unity. And I think that's something I've noticed that just seems to be kind of lacking, but that also may be due to just the fact that I'm a novice. You know, I'm a vet at comedy. I've been being funny and doing comedy in various spaces for quite some time, but I'm a novice at stand-up, and I feel like I've been working on my stand-up craft, and I'm ready. I'm opening for Paul Mooney on Saturday here in New York City.
So that's awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm very excited about that. I know people are like, oh, he bombed at Arsenio, but if you know Paul Mooney, he never bombs. You just didn't get it. But I definitely know that my work is going to be about not the getting on stage. That's easy. My work is, you know, getting in the mix with folks, and that's how you get on stage. Mm-hmm. And so comedy is really all about that. So whether you're a woman or a dude, it's really also just about like how well you can grind and hustle.
Which I think is really ironic, because it's very much like an entrepreneur. Like that's what you are. You're an entrepreneur. You're out there performing. How do you keep that grind on? Like how do you keep on going on? Because I'm sure you get a lot of rejection, a lot of no's, things don't work out, which is very similar to, you know, when people are running businesses. How do you stay motivated? How do you keep on going?
I mean, my mom is a good source for that, and I have like good friends around me, and I mean, I've just had to learn how to also just be a very self-motivated person, because at a certain point you also realize, like, you know, this is the only option, right? It's not like you're going to go to nursing school. So this has to work. So you'll have your days, your moments. You know, if I think for too long, sometimes I can think myself into, you know, what are you doing? Are you doing enough? Why aren't you doing this? You know, but it's funny. I don't know if you know Bevy Smith. She hosts a show called Fashion Queens on Bravo. and she's one of my industry moms. And she had pulled me aside in the fall of last year, and she was like, you know, I feel like you're panicking. And I was like, panicking? What do you mean, panicking? What are you talking about? Yes, and I was panicking. I thought I was fronting well, but apparently I wasn't. And she pulled me aside and was like, listen, your work is out here. Like, you've done the work, and you continue to do the work. So what you want to happen is going to happen. Like, you don't have to panic. You just have to be still in the fact that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, and it will come to fruition. And it was almost as if she was like some oracle that was sent to just tell me what you already know, you know, but what you need reinforcing. And the other part is like the fans. Like, I know that sounds really cliche, but these social media things can be very annoying sometimes. They can also just be very helpful as an artist because they get you immediate response to let you know that you aren't working in a vacuum, that there are people that appreciate what you're doing, you know, and that there is a necessity for you. You know, when people come on Twitter and say, you know, race doesn't matter, I know there's a necessity for me because clearly we have some more ignorance to scrape out.
Right, exactly. And you look at that, and you mentioned something I think that was really key, is kind of like cleaning the pipes in your mind, in the sense that you really have to free your mind to allow stuff to happen, in the sense that it's so easy for us as entrepreneurial-minded people, as far as how we are navigating in our life, to allow our thoughts to get in the way of our success, because oftentimes it's just us in the way. And you really hit the nail on the head when you know, you had your oracle moment, and it was just really that, no, it's you. You're doing everything right, and
you do what you can, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm good for beating myself up. Like, what aren't you doing? And it's like, Amanda, there's only 24 hours in the day. You know. So what I did do recently is I realized that the money I was spending at Zara could be spent on an assistant.
Yes.
To live more efficiently and operate more efficiently. So I made that change. It's been very helpful, extremely helpful. And I brought on some interns, and they've been great too. And you know, sometimes I know for entrepreneurial minds like ourselves, it can be hard to even know how to delegate. So that's a whole other thing that has Cher Jones.
Cher Jones, that is my biggest problem. And it's hard because, you know, when you can do so many things and you can do it reasonably well, and then you feel like it's going to take longer. Yes, I hack into everything. Okay, and I'll learn it. I'll learn how to build a website. I'll learn how to make graphics. I'll learn how to do a hangout, whatever. Yeah. But the problem is like sometimes you get into this rut that you feel like teaching somebody is going to take too long. Let me just finish it. Let me just do it. And it's like, do it. Yeah. And that's,
I mean, at this point, what I've started doing is I'll give them a shot. You know, like I'll give someone a shot. Like, you know, okay, do this trailer. If they, after 3 weeks, you know, depending on the time frame, right? So like if we have 2 weeks, by the end of that week, if you haven't done the trailer, then I'm like, okay, now I know I gotta get on top of that, you know? And so that's the thing. I've had to divert my energy from just me doing it to actually being able to manage someone else doing it. And that's worked in some cases and not worked in other cases, but it's the key to being an entrepreneur, you know, because you really can't do anything and do everything. And like I can do Photoshop, but wouldn't it be better to have someone who's proficient at it, you know, and just kind of train them on how I want them to do my Photoshop?
Right. And you can even, like, there's always Fiverr.com. I don't know if you ever used Fiverr.
Yeah, I heard of Fiverr recently, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice place to hang out, my friend. That is a very nice place to hang out.
Well, you know, I just got a new Things I Learned This Week logo from
I saw it.
My intern, Crystal Brown, and she's about to be leaving me and pursuing her professional career. And, you know, I just got really, really lucky to work with folks who really get my brand and wanted to learn. And, you know, we talk about all different kinds of things when we meet twice a week, and they come and do events with me, etc. And, you know, I do consider myself, you know, a mentor and a part of mentorship from being in this business so long. And so it's been nice, actually, where I thought that it would be more of a struggle to delegate. I've actually learned a lot from them, too. So it's synergy. It's synergy.
Of course, of course. You have a Caribbean background, right?
Oh yes, I am
So
from Grenada.
how's that influence your work?
In what way? Creatively or
Creatively.
practicality?
No,
Because you
creatively.
know West Indians have 10 jobs.
Mhm.
I'm not
Is that
really
in your,
sure.
is that in your comedy? Is it, things that happened when you were growing up, stuff like that?
I mean, I think that stuff always kind of like comes in the mix. For instance, like last week, on this episode of Things I Learned This Week, we did a reggae version of DuckTales, and I mean that I'm able to do that because of my West Indian background. But I think for the most part, it's really, it really hasn't even, I haven't even been able to showcase that as much as I want to yet. I mean, I want to do a one-woman show about the green card process and just the different paths that West Indians have had to take to get a green card. And I know that all folks across the world have their own stories, but I'm very specifically curious about West Indians because from my mom's generation to the current generation, I mean, there's just been all these different processes and ways that, West Indians and their relation with Black Americans, etc., there's a lot of intricacies there that will make for a very culturally interesting and funny show. So, but otherwise, I feel like my Caribbean background really shows up in my visual art more than anything because the colors, it's just colors. It looks like carnival in every painting.
So, let's talk about DJing.
There you go. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about DJing. What is it for you? What is it about music that kind of just inspires you? That like, especially like when you're out in that kind of when you're out doing that kind of work, how does that feed your creativity and everything that you're doing?
I mean, DJing for me is really like that's my drug per se. Like I don't drink anymore. Like, I mean, I may have a sip, but it's not like a thing. It used to be like if we're in this club or we're at a party, like I wanted, like drinking is a part of that. And now it's not really, just good music is really a part of that. And so what I love about DJing is that I don't really like the club scene, but I like DJing because it allows me to, I don't like the club scene, but I love music. And I love hearing music really, really loud. So DJing allows me to basically take over someone's club sound system and play the music I want to play really, really loud. But it also allows me to like bring people joy through just good music. Like music is one of those things that you can really share with people. You don't got to talk. We don't have to talk about the politics of the song or whatever. Like, it's just an unspoken kind of unified front. And it's like, when Black folks hear the Electric Slide, like we know what to do. And when you play certain songs when you're DJing and you watch the whole crowd know what to do, like they know, like this is that jam. It's just really empowering. And from a recovering control freak, it's just like you are at the helm.
Yeah.
So it's a great place to be. But then I'm just a music head, and I really, really just love the fact that like I get to share that with folks and keep playing like records that never need to die.
And what was it like? Oh yeah, favorite record.
My favorite record?
Yeah.
I mean, it changes quite often. Like right now, my favorite song, which is I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but it's a late pass too. I've always liked the song, but for some reason right now I've become like recently obsessed with it. Is Chris Brown's Fine China, which I know, but god darn it, it's just so good. The song is just so good. It's just like a resurgence I've had of it. I also love, Crystal Waters, La Da Dee, La Da Da. Gypsy Woman never gets old. Ever. But everyone knows that my favorite record of all time is Boy, You Should Know That I've Got You On My Mind, Your Secret Admirer. I've been watching you. I mean, it never. It brings joy.
I can tell. You can see it. It's like oozing out of you. And you've been able to take this love of DJing and like bringing one step further. You were on, I think it was Good Morning America last week DJing.
Yeah. Did they replay it?
No, but I remember seeing one of your updates or something like that you were doing.
It wasn't last week. It was last month. But yeah, I've done it twice, okay. And it's always fun. Also because I just DJ for Robin. I'm here for Robin. Yeah. And it's like she knows it because she's like, yes, Amanda, yes. I'm like, good. She heard it. She heard it.
You're also the host of Master of the Mix. How has that been when you went through that series? I think.
Yeah, we did a season of Master of the Mix over at VH1. That was a really good time, and it was really great getting to be around like all those DJs, for 3 weeks and just seeing their mastery. Because I will be the first to tell you, like, I'm not a cut scratch master. I'm a record picker. Like I know what records.
You're a vibe. You're the vibe of the club, the vibe of the party. Yeah.
But these were technicians and just real masters of their craft, and getting to be a part of that was really, really a fun experience. And also, I would get my little lessons from Kid Capri as well, so that was a little perk.
Yes. I mean, that just looked like an awesome opportunity. And then, I mean, you bring in your skill set as far as your DJ, but then you also sing, and you sing like Wu-Tang. Jazz mixed one. I don't even know how that happened. So tell me a little bit about that. Jazz from the 36 Chambers. That is crazy, but it sounds so awesome. So tell me a bit about that. Where'd that come from?
Thanks. No, I mean, that just came from me being on this couch thinking, just bored, and like, I wonder what that would sound like. And then I threw it on Instagram. Like I started just singing a little jazz version of Cream, and I threw it on Instagram, and the response was like, so resounding that I thought, well, maybe there's something to this. And I had mentioned it to Q-Tip, and I was like, I'm thinking about doing this project. And he was like, oh, you should work with Chris Bowers. And I mean, it's just crazy how things work because he just threw this name out there. And I went on Twitter, and I found the guy on Twitter, and I friended him, and he befriended me in like 2 seconds. And then I sent him a DM like, hey, I was referred to you from Kamal. I'm really excited about this idea that I have. Would love to chat with you about it. We met at a Whole Foods, and it was just like from that point forward, we were besties. And we would meet at his apartment and work through the songs. And then once I got the date at Le Poisson Rouge, it was on and popping. And I got to tell you, the show came out way better than I ever could have imagined. Like, really. I knew it had the potential to be dope, but we didn't get to rehearse with the full band until 2 days before the show. So I didn't really get to see like the full power and breadth of it until like right up until the show. And I'm really proud of it, and we're working on doing more. Doing these shows and whatnot when you don't have an underwriter and you don't have a marketer and a producer and all that stuff. Like all of those things are really like, when you have those, it takes things to a whole other level. And this is a show that I feel like really can go to the next level. So we're looking to get those things on board.
Congrats, because I saw some of the clips online and I was so impressed. Like, I mean, you sound awesome. And again, it's like one of those things. It's like God just said, he has a creative stick and he's tapping people. And for you, it's just like, just take the stick. Just take the damn stick, because he just can do it all.
Take the damn stick.
Just take it and go.
I really got lucky. I will not lie.
And then I was right behind you, like, what about me? What about me? And it's just like, no, she got the stick. And I just had to keep on walking.
I was given the gifts, and if I'm not sharing them, then it's like I don't deserve them.
With your art, were you surprised how successful that's been? Is that one of the things that you're like, you take immense pride in, that people have really, I guess, responded to it so positively?
It's funny, actually. The art is the easiest one, because I guess I don't even, art is the only like art form that I do where I've never cared what people think about it. Like I've never thought about like, oh, maybe I should do this because it will get a bigger audience, or maybe I should do this because it will get this specific audience, or like I've never attached like marketing, savvy to my visual art. And so it's really always surprising to me like that people support it, because it kind of never really mattered to me. And I purposely don't pursue it as like a clear trajectory within my work, because I don't ever want it to get like tainted with commerce, like with the with the kind of capitalist mindset that comes with having to be a creative. It's something you have to beat back a lot of times. I mean, for instance, like last week I was like, maybe I need to change the name of things I learned this week to something more provocative so we can get more viewers. And someone on Twitter just replied to me, and all they said was, "That's how it starts."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, touche! And that idea went out the window, because it's true. That is how it starts. You start molding and trying to adapt to something that you can't even see, Right. And when a lot of times if you just stick to your guns, it will adapt to you. That's basically how like evolution and everything kind of works. So with that being said, yes, I am immensely proud that people love my art, and I get some hate, but that's always kind of the part of doing stuff, and I don't get to paint as much as I used to, but I will be hosting the Roots Picnic again this year, and we'll be out there selling prints and bags, and I'm looking forward to coming up with some new ideas for bags for March 31st.
Okay.
How do you find the balance, between everything that you're doing? Like, you just have projects, you're out there, you're definitely, your career is advancing and new opportunities are always coming to you, or you're always, finding opportunities. But how do you find the balance? I mean, we said earlier, you mentioned that like one thing you may not have the best in is the love life. But how do you find the balance to kind of just live that kind of balanced lifestyle, I guess is what I'm saying. So it's not just work, that you're always there, that you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually something I've come to really get good at as in the last like year, because a lot of times before that it wasn't balance, it was stress, because you're wondering where the money's going to come from, and you're wondering like, okay, you may be working on this job, but there's no job security, and you may be having this gig here and that gig here, but really the stress would come from like, how do you create more work? How do you create more opportunity? How do you create more gigs? I mean, I wrote my first one-woman show, Death of the Diva. Well, it's my second, really. But I wrote Death of the Diva simply because I wasn't getting work. And I was like, I need to create something to basically be the calling card to my genius. And out of that, though, what really happened was I created something that empowered me as a performer, and I got to tell the story that I feel like a lot of black women in entertainment want to tell, which is that, we are so marginalized, and at this point, a lot of times, if you're not willing to be sexy or stupid, you ain't really gonna get a check. And so that has been like a lot of the stress. But in the last 2 years, as I've been working more and the work starts getting steadier, you do have to then learn, okay, how to balance the work and how to balance, like, okay, so at 10 a.m. I'm going to be doing commentary. From 10 to 1:30 I'm going to be a comedian doing commentary. And then, from 3 to 6 I'm going to have to DJ an event. And then from 7 to 9 I need to write this script, or write this submission to be, to possibly become a writer for the Colbert Report. Like, it's really been something that I've had to wrangle and remind myself that this is what you want. And the fact that, like, now the stuff I'm juggling is all creative stuff is so exciting and such a beautiful thing. And I I balance it by really just time management and really just allowing myself to know, like, okay, from this time to this time, you're going to do this. You know, when I'm writing, I write at night, so I know that, like, okay, after 9, get on it. I mean, it takes discipline.
Thank you for your writing
really.
time.
That's where the balance comes from, just discipline.
Well, thank you for your writing time, considering we had you on at 9 o'clock at night. We appreciate that. And
No problem.
so even, like, I don't think it's in left field in the sense of where your head is at and where your brain is at, as far as your brain capacity and your ability. But you talk about climate change. So we talk about DJing and having your show, and one woman show, and you're an artist, you're this, you're that, and then you're going around touring about climate change. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's like totally. I didn't even see that coming when I started to hear about that as well.
Well, the Hip Hop Caucus actually brought together, artists like myself, D1, and Raheem Devon to help be a voice in this really important, movement and topic. Because the reality is, a lot of folks just aren't really listening unless they see a recognizable face, or it's really the power of pop culture. And so when I was brought on tour, I will be the first to say, like, I didn't really know about what we were going on the road about, but I knew that it was important. And over the time of going on the road and also just reading the materials, you really get to see just how imminent climate change is in the Black community specifically. We talk about climate change, a lot of people think about glaciers and, the polar bears, and all of that is true, but they don't think about the fact that this lacking of standards on emissions is not only affecting those big things, but it's also affecting the, communities that are directly adjacent. And so, these kids and everybody in these communities are dealing with, really, really extremely poor breathing air, really poor water quality. I mean, their buildings even are not made from the best materials. There's many cities we went to where we saw playgrounds directly adjacent to coal plants, to nuclear plants, to power plants, to incinerators, And these types of things are not thought of as, like, vital importance in the Black community a lot of times. We just think of, like, how do we stop Black on Black crime? We think of, how do we improve education? We think of, okay, how do we, even voting rights is ranked higher in terms of importance, but we're not even thinking about the fact that, like, we're not breathing good air. Hampton, Virginia has the worst breathing air in the nation. Mm-hmm. And it's just incredible to find these things out. And when you start putting the pieces together, you see how these detrimental levels of breathing air and of poor drinking water, of lack of nutrition, etc., you see how all these things do add to a rise in violence, how all these things, do add to inability for a lot of kids to learn at a certain level in the education field. All these things are cyclical. They all come together, and our role in this tour was to help bring that to a lot of people's awareness. And what was even greater about it was that a lot of people were already aware and just want to know, what can we do? Mm-hmm. And so that was really exciting, because these media outlets will have you think Black folks don't care about climate change, and it's not true.
So what's next for you, Miss Amanda? What's next? What, if you look forward to, let's say, the next 5 years, where would you like to see yourself be? What is it that you'd like to accomplish, I guess?
For me, I really love just being able to consistently work. I mean, my goal in life is to have, as much money and options and resources to create the amount of ideas that I have. That's really, like, what I want to be able to do. Like, when I have an idea, I can get it done. And whether that is an idea that's a creative idea, whether that's an idea that helps in social change, in terms of philanthropy, like, I just want to be able to have the access to do that. In the next 5 years, I would love to be, doing my own television show. I would love to have a project that's on a broader, not a broader, but that's on a bigger platform.
Yeah, and, like Comedy Central or something.
Yeah, whether that's Things I Learned This Week or something else. I mean, eventually I would like to have my own network. But really, it's about just getting my voice and my point of view and my comedy out there in as many ways as possible. And I think that I have a unique point of view that's a positive one, mm-hmm. and that could really add to, like, our pop culture and our social landscape. So in the next 5 years, I just want to keep pushing that to as many people as will listen.
We're listening. We're listening. Yeah. I think lots of people are listening. I think that you are very, you know, like you are like a breath of fresh air. You definitely let people think of things in a different way, in different angles, and different perspective. You're definitely a very smart woman. It just shines and breathes through you in everything that you're doing. So I think like being able to talk about all the social issues that you talk about, the political, race, class, all of that, I think that is something that I think it meshes well with comedy and your personality. I think Sharon and I, when we wanted to bring you on the show, it's because we appreciate your hustle. Like, you have a huge hustle, and I know from the work that I do, and I know from the work that Cher does, it's not easy. Like, to wake up every day and stay self-motivated and to say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and maybe things don't always work out, but you keep pressing forward and you keep going for it. I think that's why I know that's why we brought you back into you're awesome, because you have the hustle that not everyone, that's why you will succeed in everything that you do, because you do what everyone will not do. Because when hard work shows up, Amanda's pushing forward. So, you know, we thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Loriandcher. You know, artists, we need to hear shit like that all the time.
It's so true. It's so true. So, Amanda, where can people find you on the net? Where are they going to go? Where do they need to find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Amanda Seales and on Instagram at Amanda Seales. And you can find me on Tumblr at Amanda Seales. And then you can also go to amandaseales.com and on YouTube at Amanda Seales TV.
Lovely.
So it's pretty, you know, it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
Amanda Seales.
Amazing.
And I'm building a new website. So I'm very excited, and that will be unveiling within the next month. So, and that will still be amandaseales.com, but it'll be fresh. And it'll be a source for you to check out my videos, and you know, I'm always creating new content and really just trying to push the envelope with the funny and the smart.
Awesome. Well, Cher, I think that's it for us tonight.
It sure is, but you know, before we go, we have to put our plug out, because we are always on the search and on the hunt, looking out there for awesome guests like Amanda. So if you think you're awesome and you think you need to be on our show, let us know by hitting us up at loriandcher.com/guest, and we'd love to hear your story and why you think you're so awesome and why you should be up on my show. So, yes, give us a call, check us out, and of course, yeah, Lori, that's pretty much about it, isn't it?
That is it.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So, yeah, that's it. We're wrapping on this session. Thanks a lot, you guys, for tuning in, and check us out next time.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Bye.